Hello and welcome again to Dreaming Live الحب الحب. Um, Today we have a very special guest. I had recorded an introduction with him in the discussion, but I thought to add a few words again before, so don't get bored of me. I hope not. Okay, so I just want to say a few things. So as you know, if you are a listener, if not, I really recommend to listen to previous episodes because this is only one point in a very large collection of ideas that are being discussed. So Dreaming Live covers various topics regarding the creative process that we believe starts at birth because art is an extension of who we are, and art is an extension of our values, of our inner freedom, of a lot of things. And so, throughout the last episodes, we've covered various topics relating to these creative life processes, and but today we will focus on one point, and perhaps the most beautiful point, that is our innermost. What is our innermost? Agnes Varda, she says, if you open her up deep inside, you would find beaches. For me, I say you'd find meadows. But also, you'd find an inner child. My innermost is an inner child. It's almost like a child running in meadows. But anyway, whatever it is, whatever you see in your innermost depths, the innermost is a place of absolute magic that resides inside each one of us. And sadly, we're not always in tune with it. There is what our guest today, who is David Lynch. I thought I would present him, but yeah. So David Lynch, he refers to what we call as the surface. He calls us the surface where the outside world is, where things happen, and so on. And then, so we have the surface, and we have deep inside the beautiful, wondrous cocoon of magic inside of us that is called the innermost. And sometimes, the innermost is not always easy to get to. Sometimes there are like webs before we get there. I call it the webs before the wells. But the innermost itself is a place of unbound magic, unbound creativity, and most importantly, a place of peace, of inner peace. And with the greatest honor today, we host David Lynch, a man unbound, uncompromised, and all one has to do is to just hear him speak of his experience with the film Dune, a film where he didn't have final cut. You'll hear pain, wounds, just for not having final cut, and resulting in what was to him a life lesson. And the reason I bring this up is just to show how, because not everyone I know would have reacted similarly to seeing an idea being compromised, and the extent of the pain. It shows this relentless, authentic pursuit of an idea to its realist form. And so ideas, where do they come from? They come from our innermost depths. They come from our innermost. And so with David, we're going to speak about that, about the kingdom of heaven that is inside of us. And one thing, because when I hear him speak of it, I think it's beautiful. And one thing that he's inspired my own ideas with the subject of the innermost is he calls it a consciousness. And it really is a consciousness. There is a great intelligence inside of us. So this episode is dedicated to the innermosts. My innermost, David's innermost, and most importantly, your own wondrous innermost. So love to all of you, and love to all of us, and to our innermost depths. Speak soon.
David Lynch has described his film Eraserhead in this manner: a dream of dark and troubling things. And Would you like to expound on that a little?
No.
No? What sort of reaction were you thinking of? Do you want people to have? Or do you want anyone?
Well, see, the thing is, like, when we were making the film, we weren't thinking about an audience. I wasn't really thinking about what it would do. We would sometimes fantasize, and think, but we never really thought that we'd even get it distributed, And I remember when Filmix came around, we thought this was it. It's going to be seen one time, and that's going to be it. And so the reaction, Eraserhead is Eraserhead, and it was meant to be just that way. And however people react to it is fine. And the next film I make, I'd like to think more about an audience and what they're going to be reacting to and like that. But it wasn't that I just went about it haphazardly. Eraserhead was a real definite thing in my head, but I didn't think about how people were going to react to it. Anything goes, like if somebody sees it and wants to make a political film out of it, they can do that, It's fine with me, because it's not fair for me to say, oh, you didn't get it, because the film is so abstract, but it's not just like throwing together abstract. It's meant to be abstract. It's meant to be that way abstract, So it has a right kind of feeling to me, and it's an honest film, but it's very abstract. So it's not fair for me to say that it's a definite, way that has to be interpreted.
You have such a nice wife and just a nice little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how such a nice, normal existence, and you're so strange.
Well, I'm not all that strange, really. And also, everybody beneath a lot of times a calm exterior is, the subconscious, right? And that's where everyone has their little, well, not little, but, the denizens of the deep and all that. And this film, a lot of people say, is a real sort of subconscious experience. It unearths things that are inside of people. So it's sort of like a dream, the dream theme again too.
Yeah, hold on to those dreams, baby. They so tough. Yeah, keep them dreams burning, baby. Yeah, you gotta hold on tight to your life. 'Cause all you got, your dreams. Yeah, you gotta keep them dreams burning. Yeah, you gotta keep them dreams burning forever. Yeah, you gotta hold on tight, baby. Yeah, 'cause we all love you. Yeah, we all love you, all your friends. So keep them dreams burning forever. Forever. Yeah. Baby. Yeah, you gotta hold on tight, man. You gotta hold on tight to yourself. Yeah, you gotta keep them dreams burning forever. Yeah, baby. Grab them dreams. Yeah, keep that flame burning forever. Yeah, keep that flame glowing, man. such a life.
Hey,
Oh, sorry, I didn't see. How are you?
very good. How are you doing?
I am so happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you. Is it Mace?
Yes,
Mace. Good deal, Mace.
it means the world that you agreed to do this.
I liked your intro to me very much, and I think you're a great one. So it's my pleasure.
I feel like we speak a similar language, a
I
deep
think
language.
so. I think so.
Okay, because I know your time is limited, and what I would like to do is to go through what you say is like how change starts from inside, and I
Mhm.
want to go through the steps. So I mean, I have to be kind of quick with it, but of course, I know your
You
time.
just take your time and ask whatever you want to ask.
You are like a in the well. Okay, so I am usually I record my introductions separate, but this time I'm going to incorporate it quickly here. It's short because it's part
Okay.
of what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
So, hello everyone who's listening. Welcome to Dreaming Live. This is Mace. Today we have David Lynch. And I would like to start this discussion with a message for the listeners. So this is the first discussion I have after the explosion in Beirut and after the decimation of Beirut. And as many of you know, I'm half Lebanese, and Beirut is one of the dearest cities to my heart. So many people I know have lost everything. My father's apartment was decimated. Their father's family apartment, not our apartment, their family. Their neighbor, age 16, whom I don't know him, but he's 16 and he passed away, Ilyas Khouri. His sister severely injured. Everyone in Beirut today has such stories that we don't need to go over. But even non-Lebanese people, everyone I've spoken to across the region is feeling just like the city of Beirut, decimated. Our region is in active mode of destruction, from Palestine to Iraq to Syria, Libya, Yemen, and now Beirut. Entire geographies are decimating into memories. And what is worse is this fear that more war awaits and never-ending war awaits. Hope feels gone. And me, as someone who worked in the fight against COVID in the healthcare sector and even in the elder care sector, which is the most vulnerable, which was very intense and traumatic, I've still never seen anything like the pessimism I see in our region today. A cloud of collective pessimism decimating anything that makes for a dignified life. And so it feels almost weird to come back and talk about optimism and dreams when people are left without food and shelter. But to be honest, we have no choice but to be optimistic. Why? Because for me, at least, I don't want to live in this world if things will continue the way they are. What's the point to rebuild if more destruction awaits? What's the point to live or eat if more destruction awaits? We need optimism and we need change, and especially to abolish sects, but we have no choice but optimism. And I believe this change has to start within, because no food, I mean, what's the point again to eat or to heal wounds if we're just going to get destroyed again? So if we change from within, then we can change our fate. And so this is what I'd like to talk about. And for that reason, and I think that there's like no one of greatest honor to host than David Lynch, who specifically you spread this message of change from within. So thank you for being part of the show. This is
My pleasure, Mace.
Okay, so here, so my steps that I identify, which I always also hear you identify, is how we're going to go through starting at the surface, and then the journey inwards, and then the well, and from here ideas that turn into dreams, and that we can manifest through creation, through art, and that carry messages through inspiration from one innermost to another's innermost and lead to change. Does this make sense?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay. So the first step, I want to talk about the surface. We're born into groups that carry their own social facts, which comprise of social constructs that are branded to us as truths, but they are not. They're false universalities that try to conform us, and they try to compromise our being, from sexuality to gender norms to artistic expression to career, what you should do in your career, to whether socially or economically. Through fear, shame, and sometimes violence, especially violence, we're pressured to conform. So you, David, you are one of the most uncompromised beings and a true inspiration to uncompromised beings. And you are a success story for the uncompromised beings. So I'm wondering, did you ever feel these pressures to be and choose who you are and to persist in staying true? Did you ever feel these pressures? As a person and as an artist.
Okay. Mace, we're going to talk about the surface first.
Okay.
Okay. On the surface is all this diversity, and we're all different on the surface, one from another. There's different colors, different cultures, different walks of life, different desires, different laws, different rules, all these things that you're talking about. But the thing is, the beautiful thing is, we're all human beings, and human beings have a certain nervous system. And this nervous system is just extraordinary. It's what makes us all human beings, this great mind and intellect and nervous system. And we have a possibility, because we're human beings, to experience something that is within. And it's called transcending. And human beings can transcend almost sort of by accident, and people have transcended by accident many times. I transcended one time sitting in a chair daydreaming. And I was just daydreaming along, and all of a sudden, boom, I see this white light, and I get this euphoric, blissful feeling. And I say, what was that? And I didn't know what it was. I knew I wanted to have it again, but I didn't know what it was or how to get it again. In between, like you're in bed going to sleep. You're not asleep yet, you're still awake, and your eyes are closed, and you're going to go to sleep. Between waking and sleeping, there's a gap, and you can fall into this gap and transcend. And so many people have had this experience. They're almost asleep, and boom, they get a blast of something very beautiful. And what is that? They've slipped into this gap, and they've transcended. They've experienced this field within. So it's a human being thing to experience this. And this experience leads to wondrous things. It leads to evolutionary things. And the thing about transcendental meditation is, it is an ancient technique, an ancient form of meditation, which allows any human being anywhere to have this experience at will. Practice this technique and you will transcend. You will experience the deepest level of life, the eternal level of life. And you'll start, every time you transcend, you infuse some of this. Now, this from the transcendent. The transcendent is a field of pure, unbounded consciousness. And this consciousness within has qualities. So it's a field of unbounded intelligence, unbounded creativity, unbounded happiness, unbounded universal love, unbounded energy, unbounded peace. It's within every one of us. You transcend and experience this field. Every time you will infuse some, you'll grow in that. Whatever size ball of consciousness you had to begin with will now start to expand. You'll be expanding consciousness and those all positive qualities. And this has a side effect. The side effect of expanding consciousness and those all positive qualities is negativity starts to lift away. Stress, traumatic stress, tension, anxieties, worries, depressions, sorrow, hate, need for revenge, anger, and fear all start to lift away automatically. Exactly like light chases darkness away, this field within chases negativity away. And it's a real human thing. It works. And we human beings are like light bulbs. We like this change within, and we radiate out this positivity. Same thing with negativity. If you have anger and hate and all this inside, you'll radiate that out. This is the reverse. You start getting happy inside, filled with this positivity, and you'll start radiating that out, affect your environment, affect other people in a most positive way. So
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like the surface is one thing and the depth is another. And they say at the depth, this field, the transcendent, at that level, we are all one. We are a world family. And it's time we all started getting along.
A soul family.
We're a soul family, absolutely. And it's time we start treating each other well, getting along, being able to travel anywhere and meet a friend, not an enemy, and start enjoying life together, realizing our dreams. It's absolutely possible to do.
So I identify almost exactly with everything that you're saying. I only have it in a cartoon, in a sorted slightly with different maybe language or order. Is like, I feel to me that there, as you say, there is an inner. I like the word I like most from the many words I've heard you use is the kingdom of heaven inside, and I call it my innermost. So I feel like there are things that try to keep us at the surface, like that even scare us from going inside. Like you cannot question sometimes. There's a lot of but I find the elements so there's elements like inspiration, sometimes dissatisfaction with the real world, sometimes curiosity and questioning. We start to move a bit away from the surface and being able to go inside. So for example, this is like, for example, me and a friend of mine watched Eraserhead at a very young age, okay? And our fate later was very different from someone who didn't watch Eraserhead. Because what happened, there was inspiration, and then we started to realize the mediocrity of the things there. And we start to become curious, and we start to question. And that sets us on a path into the well. Now, in the well, when we get there, as we dismantle, so say I grew up with a Christian family, I start to dismantle. Here I see infinite new possibilities. And in each, so I could now choose existentialism, I could choose this, or I could pick and choose, and I can unchoose. And as I become more aware of this well, the choices I make are better suited for me. And that's how, for me, the negativity starts to recede, because we become more conscious of the well. And the well knows better. The more we're in tune with it, the better the decisions we make, the more happier they make us. And then once we make choices, in each choice is a galaxy of ideas. And ideas, some pass, and some we fall in love with. And the ones we fall in love with become dreams.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but being aware of the well, as you call it, or the transcendent, or the ocean of pure consciousness, being aware of that is one thing, but truly experiencing it is another.
Mm.
So you can be aware of an orange, for instance, and know what an orange looks like and hear a lot of information about an orange. But if you've never eaten an orange, then you haven't fully, known an orange. Once you start getting more and more of that consciousness and those all positive qualities going, they say you start getting in tune with nature, and you start getting nature's help, and it does guide you. And there's something about this field that I always say, it is a field of all knowingness. So this thing of intuition, of a kind of knowing, starts to grow, and you sort of more know what is good to do and know the right things to do in your work, and know a way to fix things that are broken, know a way to solve problems that come along. It's for life. And also, this thing about negativity, this chases it away without even thinking about it. When I first started meditating, I was filled with anger, and I would take this out on my first wife. I made her life hell, especially in the morning. And so I started meditating, and I didn't even realize that this anger had lifted. Within the first 2 weeks, it happened for me. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than that, even if you're meditating every day. But in the first 2 weeks, my wife came to me and she said, "What's happening?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "This anger, where did it go?" And
Wow.
it lifted away without me even trying. So things truly start getting better quickly when you transcend every day. It's a secret of life.
Uh, to be honest, I do feel, very similarly. And like you said, with nature, I mean, I used to be hyper rational. Everyone probably still knows me as hyper rational, but I've been feeling a lot of like magic. And there's something very funny, like there's an empty land next to my work, and like there's a mall and cars. It's just a land in the middle of the city, but it's filled with butterflies, okay? Filled with beautiful, beautiful butterflies. And I go there every day, and I talk to them, and I make dreams with them. And someone the other day littered it. And as I was picking up the garbage, a butterfly came and sat on me. And I have pictures. She stayed with me. She went through the bus ride home with me. And I'll show you. And then she left. I wanted to take her home to feed her, but she left right as I arrived home. And I've been having I have so many pictures I could even send you with just, wait, I'll show you a picture with the butterfly riding the bus with me. Oh, look, some of them like pause for me.
Yeah.
And then the other day, I was telling my other hyper rational friend, her name is Honor, I was telling her, I feel magic. Like, and I was telling her about the butterflies, and I show her a picture of the kind of butterflies that I'm more connected to. And next day, a butterfly sat on her arm for 20 minutes.
Human beings, for some reason, we've lost contact with this field within, and we need to reestablish it and get going on a good life for all of us.
But staying in tune with it, isn't it a bit of a process? Like it's constant. It's a constant effort to stay, because you can easily, right, like disharmonize.
No, here's the thing. There's a thing about happiness. Everybody has experienced happiness, but we realize that things that made us happy, like if you get something new that you've been wanting, and you're very, very happy if you get it. But over time, that happiness goes away. And the thing that you got, it doesn't have the same wondrous, happy feeling connected to it anymore. It gets old. So we live in a world of change. So happiness doesn't stick. The happiness, however, that you get within, it stays and it builds up. So it just stays with you. Now, here's the thing to think about. Every single human being has a full potential waiting. And the full potential of every one of us glorious human beings is called enlightenment. It just needs unfolding. This thing you mentioned, the kingdom of heaven, it was said, first seek the kingdom of heaven, which lies within, and all else will be added unto you. Think about it. Seeking implies finding. Finding implies experiencing. Every time we experience that kingdom of heaven within, we infuse some, we grow in that, we grow and grow until we have everything, totality. All else will be added unto us. It is the human being. It's our birthright as human beings to one day be able to enjoy supreme enlightenment. It's there waiting for us. It just needs unfolding. And on the way to enlightenment, things get better and better and better. So it's money in the bank, Mace, to get this technique and go regularly, day in and day out, realize your full potential, become a light unto yourself, broadcast that out, and get the whole gang meditating. And let's get peace going on this planet, and friendliness and compassion and being, kind to one another. It's so beautiful.
It is. And speaking of like you said, there's happiness that doesn't last and happiness that does last. There's also, I want to talk about there's art that could come from that kingdom of heaven, like that manifest, this energy can manifest into the physical world using mediums. And I think that there's two arts. There's art that's created for the external world, which is like entertainment. And there's art that comes from that field. And that art, I call these art as expression because it vocalizes the inner consciousness. And the other is entertainment. So art that comes from that field, like your art, it's also just like happiness, timeless. Like there's a lot of art or film or paintings, whatever, that's like trendy, and maybe in the summer of this and summer of that, but the creative manifestations from that field are timeless.
Okay, so one thing that does grow rapidly, because this field within is a field of unbounded, infinite creativity. Creativity, if common sense would tell you, creativity is going to grow if you're transcending every day. You're going to become more creative. And creativity to me means problem solving. So creativity is used in all walks of life. And if you're a painter, your paintings will become even more creative. If you're a filmmaker, you're not only going to get more ideas, you're going to be able to catch them on a deeper and deeper level. They're going to have more information, more thrill, and they're going to flow more freely. I always say negativity is the enemy to creativity. Stress, I say, squeezes the tube through which ideas flow. So if you're stressed, or if you're filled with anger, or you're filled with hate, the little ideas, they can't get through. You're just cutting off everything. And if you're depressed or sad all the time, the ideas, the little beautiful little ideas can't flow. You start transcending every day. Negativity starts lifting. That tube opens up. All these ideas can flow in. and all this energy comes to do your work. It's so beautiful. And so since we're all different, Mace, you're going to fall in love with certain ideas that come along. I'm going to fall in love with different ones. That's what makes the world go round. We're going to get ideas. We're going to be able to realize them. We're going to be more enjoyment in the doing. We're going to have more energy to do the things. And we're going to appreciate things that others make too. It's a beautiful thing what happens. So in a way, it's all coming from the same place, the source.
Yes,
Everything.
but I mean, yeah, for real expression, but sometimes there is entertainment, like films, like or something that's made just to sell, you know?
Yes, that's true.
That's
There's
what I mean,
people
entertainment. But you are one of the few in the industry that is uncompromised. You don't sacrifice your truths for what would make money or what will. And now our community, we are not, people often are at the verge. Like the guest before you was talking about how she's always at the verge. You know, sometimes she has to invite herself to people's houses just to eat. But she chose a life of uncompromised creativity. And her goal is not to sell. So yeah. So I really want to, like, I hope you know that you really are a role model for those people who are not sacrificing that voice for those to meet expectation.
Okay, so the rule for me, is to stay true to the idea. Stay true to the idea and be able to work in freedom. So it's not about money, it's about the ideas and translating those ideas to one medium or another. If you're in film, that means these cinema ideas, you stay true to them, every element, all along the way, all through the different processes of making a film. You keep remembering the idea and stay true to that idea, no matter what, and just keep going with making sure every element is correct based on the idea. And then you'll be in good shape. Huh?
Have you been met with like people wanting to change your idea?
Yes. That's why you always have to have final cut, creative freedom. And I say, why would anyone want to make a film or a painting or anything if it's not theirs? When they finish it, someone takes it away, someone wants to change it, and they have the power to change it. You would want to commit suicide. This is not a way. We should work in freedom and have freedom to realize our ideas in the way we want to realize them.
Yes.
This is so important.
And like for me, it's magic that you ended up a host on my radio show, you know? And this, I think the butterflies made it happen.
The butterflies did. You made it happen, Mace. And because of your good self. So I think that I just want you to know that the real happiness is within. Peace on earth is possible by enlivening this field through peace-creating groups so powerfully that it affects collective consciousness. The collective consciousness starts reacting the same way an individual reacts. Stress starts going away and gold starts coming in from within. People start getting happier. They want to get along. They want to help. It's a thing. Human beings, when you're stressed and everything is so negative, your behavior gets very strange, and you do things that are not so good, whether you mean to or not. The stress makes us do strange, sometimes horrible things. Let's get rid of this negativity and bring in the positive.
Yeah, okay. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but I have a last point, or maybe two. But so you have this transcendence, right? And you create art from this transcendence or whatever medium you create, even on a napkin, you write ideas. As listeners, as people who experience it, these messages get passed on to us. These values, for example, even seeing like, a film that tells you, be true to yourself, go learn yourself, go transcend into that outside of the expectations and outside of the norms. And so it's like, this is how I feel like in the end, the power of art in making us, in spreading this message. So you have like your kingdom of heaven, and then it goes, and then I hear it and it gets passed, but it like a coil, and expanding my consciousness. So like me watching Eraserhead at a very young age, me and my friend Hashim Jukha, and then another person, and the pool expands, and these messages get passed onto our hearts. But the thing is that this messages pass through geographically and through time. So like even in 100 years from now, people will hear your messages through your art. And so I call these chosen ancestors, our ancestors who continue to spread this message. And in the end, it's like, because art multiplies itself with these messages in consciousness. And so that's how the world starts from, it starts within, go within, transcend, express artistically, and change the world.
That's beautiful. That's very perfect, Mace. Perfect. Absolutely great.
This was exactly what I was hoping for this discussion, to start within and into, and why I wanted to get to why starting within will change the world.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal. Become a light unto yourself, and we change the world, okay?
Yes, and thank you for your art that initiated, like that implanted those messages into our consciousness, awakening it. Sometimes we're not even aware of it. When we grow up, at first, we're not aware of it. And again, like me being very young, watching Eraserhead was with like, oh, like a light, like, okay, now it's time to journey in. So thank you for initiating, but also for those who, it's not easy for a lot of people to stay true to who they are. A lot of people I know are struggling very much. And so also your work, it empowers them to persist and to stay true. And the messages that you send through your art, the values, it also helps us to remind us of the inside and how beautiful it is inside. So thank you for both. Thank you for giving me a chance to come and to talk about this. I just one last thing, like this project, Dreaming Live, a lot of people write to me because they also are struggling to, remain true, and they find they often use the word affirmative, like to feel that other people are the same. But with you on the show, so many people feel that this is like for all of them, affirmative. I've gotten so many messages that this shows them that dreams manifest. And
we're manifesting dreams for sure. And also, like was in Twin Peaks, we live inside a dream. That's another thing we could talk about sometime. But anyway, it's all good. Tell everyone.
We're a soul family.
Yes, we're a soul family. And so tell everyone to learn this technique.
And then we can.
And then you got that. Yes. Okay. Then you've got that. Okay, Mace.
Thank you.
Take care, Mace. It was great talking to you.
Likewise.
Keep up the good work, Mace. Okay.
You too.
Okay.
Immense love. Bye.
Likewise, Mace. Take care now.
Bye.
All the best to you.
Okay, so that is it for the discussion. Next, I'm going to play a collage of sounds and musics from the films and music of David Lynch. And it's put together by my sister, who is a very extremely talented aspiring filmmaker and extremely talented photographer, Zara Al-Nabr. Thank you, Zara, for putting this together. And also I want to say thank you for my right hand in this project. One of us is the right hand, one of us is the left hand. Layth Damashqiye, who is also, he is my truest soul brother. I love you, Layth, forever. And so thank you, and thank you to everyone else involved, whether directly or not directly. There's some very cool things coming up, so do stay tuned, and much love to you. Remember to keep dreaming. Dream, baby, dream. Much love.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, N, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now I've said my ABCs. Tell me what you think of me. Everything is fine in heaven. Everything is fine in heaven. Everything is fine. You got your good things, and I've got mine.
Shut up! It's Daddy, you shithead. Where's my bourbon? Oh, Mommy! Mommy! Mommy. Mommy loves you. Baby wants to fuck. Get ready to fuck! You fuckers, fucker! You fucker! Did you fucking look at me?